Please explain it to me. What's the biggest reason the Bucks won?
Skip, I don't want to minimize Giannis. Giannis was sensational, and I knew Giannis would be sensational. But he was sensational in game 2, but he didn't get anyone to come along with him. What we saw last night is what we've seen over the last 2 playoff series. Middleton and Holiday played way better. Extremely better at home than they do on the road. Now, Holiday was averaging slightly above, a little under 14 points a game. He gave you 21 last night. He was shooting 14% from the three-point. He shot 50% last night. Middleton had more points at the half than he had the entire game of game 2. That was the difference in the ball game. Giannis is going to be Giannis. If you're not going to build a wall, if you say, you know what, we're going to take Ayton and we're going to play him one-on-one, Giannis is going to put his head down and he's going to get to the rim. Now, he did a unbelievable job last night shooting free throws. He was sensational. I got no problem with what Giannis did. But it was, Skip, what we've been waiting to see. The Bucks believe they have a big 3. Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday. And really what they've had the first 2 games was a big 1. Well, the other 2 guys came along. They didn't give you super-duper production, Skip, but they don't need that. Those 3 gave you 80 points, 25 rebounds, 20 assists. That's what Book, CP3, and Ayton was giving you. That's what Book, CP3, and Bridges gave you the first 2 games. Well, the roles reversed. Skip, we talked about this the other day. You cannot keep getting out-rebounded on the offensive end and win ball games. Now, they got beat up the game 2. Phoenix had 18 offensive rebounds, but they didn't cash in. Last night, when Ayton got in foul trouble, because they're a small team to begin with, if you take Ayton out, not Saric, Skip, that Saric injury is coming back to look more and more.
I'll buy that.
Because they're really small, because you're asking Crowder to try to guard Giannis one-on-one at 6'8".
Yeah, and Torrey Craig didn't look right.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't look right. Skip, Giannis was spectacular, but if you're going to tell me that the Bucks are going to shoot what they shot from the free throw line last night, you tell me they're going to shoot 38, 39% from the 3, I'm going to say, Suns, you're in trouble. But I don't believe they shoot like that for the remainder of the series. And everybody says, it's a series now. No. The Bucks are going to have to finish this thing off on Wednesday to make this a series. Because if you don't win Wednesday, you're not winning 3 straight and beating the Suns. But I thought the two role players, and I hate to say they're role players, but they're star players. They're 2 role players, key role players, Middleton and Holiday, showed up last night to offer some assistance to Giannis. Giannis was Giannis. I mean, I don't know how much better he can play, but I tell you what, Skip, if you can extend this and make this a 7-game series, you tend to lean to the superstar. Giannis can win you 1 game in a winner-take-all. He's good enough to go get you 40-plus and 15, 16 rebounds and win this game. But I thought the biggest reason was Chris Middleton and Holiday. Giannis was Giannis. I wasn't worried about him. I was worried about those other 2.
I am hearing Shannon Sharpe sitting across from me, who has been won completely over by Giannis. You are now driving that new Giannis train, right?
No, Skip. I told you Giannis was really, really good. I told you. You saw what he did against the Nets. We saw that. We watched him against the Nets, right?
The one-man show Nets. I saw what he did. And if Kevin Durant's toe, is in 1/10 of an inch over the line, we're having a whole different conversation. Because it'd be very possible the Nets would be winning this series right now.
They'd be going home. So because had the better record.
Yep. So still.
Yeah.
Okay, it is my turn. I hear everything you just said, and I will take some issue with some of your points. But biggest picture last night. Bottom line, the Bucks at home were the more desperate team. They just wanted it more, and they just played harder. And all you need to look at is 20-2 in second chance points because they won the offensive boards 13-6. When you do that, you're probably going to win.
Yes.
And by the way, rebounding for the 3 games, the Bucks have beaten them on the boards all 3 games by an average of 6 a game.
Right.
That's a trend that should be very alarming to the Phoenix Suns right now.
They should feel very fortunate. They're up in this series with those kind of numbers.
Now, to the game that I witnessed last night, regrettably, and I did lose a bet to you. You did give me Phoenix plus 4.5 on the road, up 2 games to none. But I would not have taken the bet if anybody had even given me just a whiff of a warning that Devin Booker would go farther south in Game 3 than Phoenix is from Milwaukee. That's how far south Devin Booker went. He went so far south that his coach benched him for the entire fourth quarter of the game, ostensibly to rest him, to sort of take him out of harm's way, because it felt like Monty Williams believed that he was just going to keep missing jump shots in the fourth quarter. Whatever, I disagreed with that decision. We will talk much more in depth about that in just a few minutes here on the show. But if you had told me Devin Booker was going to shoot 3 of 14 and 1 of 7 from 3, well, obviously I would have said, no way I'm taking that bet, because this team does tend to go as Book goes. Right. And last night, this Book was banned in Milwaukee because I got to give it up to Chris Middleton, especially in the first half. He was playing both ends of the floor because he took Devin Booker and got up in him. He was in his, so to speak, jockstrap all night long. In the second half, they started to switch off. And
PJ talked about it a little bit too. They put Holiday. Well, remember we talked about it. Put Holiday on CP3.
Okay, I got it. But listen. Chris Middleton said, I got him, and I'm not going to let him get a clean look. And he was bothering him in the first half. And once Devin went south, he lost it. He lost all his confidence, and he couldn't get anything going. He even had a couple lip out. And it was a disastrous night for the best player on the Suns. I know, Chris, you can argue Chris is the most valuable player, but the best player is Devin Booker. I predicted on this show. We did it all day Friday. Could he, at some point, win an MVP in this league? I believe he could. And we were already going to how close is he to his mentor and idol, Kobe Bryant. Well, last night, he was about a million miles, right? Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two, we'll also get heavily into this in just a few minutes on the show, but Scott Foster showed up as the head referee. And again, if you know the history between Scott Foster and CP3, it is ugly, and it has duration because it goes back for 12 straight playoff games in which Chris has played and Scott has been the head referee. Chris Paul has lost 12 straight games. You can argue it's in his head. You can argue it's tangible. Last night, to me, it was tangible. It had impact on the game because from the very start, Scott Foster said no.
He inserted himself.
Yeah, he did. And there are a couple of calls in the first quarter, but here's the most egregious. If we could just see this call on Jay Crowder. This is Giannis on Jay Crowder, and this set an early tone. This is at the end of the first quarter, and here comes Giannis across the lane and just flat out barrels right over. He just ran him over. Yeah. And Scott Foster says, Jay Crowder, you blocked him. Yeah. Foul. What? Are you kidding me?
That's a charge.
And I think that's when Chris Paul said, okay, we're out. We got no shot. And by the way, Chris just slowly, speaking of Suns, faded into the sunset last night in Milwaukee because he scored 6 in the first quarter, got off to a nice little start, and then he scored 4 in the second quarter and 3 in the third quarter, and it just went all to hell after that. So, again, if you had told me Scott Foster was going to be the head referee, there is no way I would have taken that bet because whether it's tangible or intangible, it is a thing. And it happened. It impacted the game last night to the point that there was one other factor. I also told you on Friday that our friend Lil Wayne was going to the game because he had texted me and said, I got tickets. I got front row. At the last second, he had to opt out because he had to shoot a movie scene. They're doing the remake of House Party, which I'm looking forward to. But he had a scene with Odell Beckham that he had to shoot, and they needed him to do it yesterday. And so at the last second, he couldn't go. So remember,
you know who the executive producer of House Party, right?
Who?
Old Goat. Old Goat and Mal Carter.
I thought you said you were.
No, Old Goat and Mal Carter.
Oh, that's true. They are. Okay.
We doing big things out here.
Well, they are doing big things. He is.
Spring Hill, baby. Spring Hill.
He's chasing Michael B. Jordan. We know it.
Do that.
We got it.
We about to be a billionaire at the end of the year.
Are you? Okay. Well, maybe you should retire and buy a basketball team. I don't know.
No.
Because you can't play. I mean, you couldn't even get out of the first round for the first time in your career. Where is LeGon James? He's in Hollywood.
Where's Kawhi Leonard? Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, I don't know.
You do know.
You got nicknames now? That's a shaky one. Kawhi?
Oh, my God.
I like LeGon. It rhymes with LeBron, obviously.
Well, I know he wasn't losing to Nigeria. We're going to talk about that, too.
So the point is, when Wayne shows up, he and Chris Paul are like brothers, and it puts Chris in a comfort zone, especially on the road, because Wayne was along the trail of the Clippers series, and when he showed up, good to great things happen.
Right.
So I was trusting that, and at the last second, I couldn't trust it. So that was point number 2. Then point number 3, it's funny how this is what I love about NBA basketball, especially at the highest level in the finals. The pendulum swings from game to game on the head coach of one team or the other team.
Right.
So Coach Bud was on the hot seat. And then last night, he calls a fateful timeout in the first quarter. They fell behind 36-30. Boom, timeout. And then what happened? They go on a run, right? And you could say, what a genius timeout that was. Well, you know, okay, but that's...
Trying to quell momentum.
Okay, well, okay.
And it worked.
I got it. But now the pendulum swings back to Monty Williams. I love Monty Williams. I did not love what he did last night on 2 fronts. Again, he benched Devin down the stretch of the fourth quarter, actually the end of third, all the way.
Right, correct.
He obviously pulled him over and had a little talk with him and said, son, I'm gonna sit you the rest of the game because we need you in game 4. We need you to be ready. I just didn't like it, but we'll get into that in a little bit. The point is, big picture strategy. What is going on with your new man, Giannis? Well, he's been unleashed by Monty Williams' defense because Monty thinks that he can just single cover him with DeAndre Ayton. So what did Scott Foster make sure of last night? DeAndre Ayton played a grand total of 5 minutes in the second half and scored 2 points. He had 18 total, so he scored 16 in the first. That'll work, right? Yes. And I thought he'd get off to a bang-up start, right?
Yes.
It looked like he was going to be a dominant big man in this game, and Scott Foster made sure that Monty Williams had no choice but to bench him or not bench. Because to me, I thought Monty waited too long in the third quarter when obviously the Bucks went on another tear, and once they cut it to 4 in the third quarter, here it came, and Holiday went crazy, and Connaughton joined in. But the point was, I thought Monty should have gone back to Ayton faster because he didn't foul out. He just had 4 at that point. Well, the game is teetering. You're up 2-0. Just take a shot. Just go ahead and say, go in there and just play. And if it doesn't work out, it wasn't going to work out anyway.
And that's something that Ayton's going to have to learn, Skip. He's a young ball player. He's going to have to I got 3 fouls. Giannis has a head of steam coming in. Just let him go. Don't pick up the 4th foul on that.
Okay, I got it. So now we get to the old build the wall. Chris Paul said after the game last night, somehow, some way, we have to build a wall.
Yes.
What do we know about Giannis's playoff past? We know that Toronto, going back 2 years ago, just said, we build a wall.
Yes.
We're going to take, again, they had some big bodies, but obviously Kawhi was there, and
they had Kawhi, they had Siakam, and Gasol.
And Gasol, yeah, your guy Gasol, who was a glacier for you, but he was also a glacier for them because he could, at about 300 pounds, he could just take up space.
Exactly.
He was a mountain of a man in the lane. So they built their wall across, and they won 4 straight games from Giannis, and he went way south in those games because he was shooting like 40% from the field after he'd won the MVP, shooting 58% from the field, and he tried to jack up threes. The point is, the way you beat Giannis is you build the wall and you make him frustrated. You get him out of rhythm and out of sync. Now, you have to take a lead in the game. But if you take a lead, if Devin Booker can make some early jumpers and you take a lead and it looks like the game is slipping away, Giannis will go crazy. Because
he'll start running over people.
He will. And he was so keyed up last night. I've never seen anything like this. Budenholzer had to take him out with about 3 minutes gone in the game because he was hyperventilating. And he did this in
He gets anxiety fatigue.
And he did it in Game 7 at Brooklyn. Remember, he just got so amped up he can't stabilize his breath, right? He's they have to just go sit him down. I've never seen a superstar who just goes completely over the top.
I thought it was his conditioning, but actually it's anxiety. I had the same thing, and Dan Reeves used to tell me, he'd say, son, you one of our best conditioned athletes. Why can't you run more than one? I was like, he's like, get back in there. You just have to calm down. Skip, you want it so bad. You're so excited, so anxious. And you just...
I had no idea you suffered that.
I did early in my career. Then I had to start listening to music to slow me down. I was listening to that, Tupac and getting all amped up.
Too much.
Yes.
And so you went to what, Frank Sinatra?
No, I went to like Maxwell and the Jill Scott. I had to slow it way down. Old school. The Isley Brothers.
Okay, that'll work.
It worked.
The Isley Brothers would gear me up.
It definitely works, yep.
Okay, so the point was that they're not building the wall, that they have gotten so full of themselves, they're just saying, we've got DeAndre Ayton, he's 7 feet tall. He can handle him. Well, He didn't even play but 5 minutes of the second half. But in the end, I think you have to build a wall. And they've got now 2 full days off.
Yes.
3 total. But you have time to practice.
Yes.
You have time to, if you want to just walk through and practice, you have to figure out how to get more bodies across the lane just to say, you can't come in here.
Correct.
And again, if Middleton and Holiday shoot you out of the gym, you just have to live with it.
Skip, that's the thing. Go back and look at every series that Giannis has lost. They built the wall. Nobody has beaten Giannis by going one-on-one with Giannis. He's that good. I don't know how other people in the league perceive Giannis, but he's that good. If you do not build that wall, he will beat you. Because he's so long, he's so skilled, he will Euro step you, and then you foul him. Now, you hope he's like the old Giannis and make 40% of those. But if he's going to make 76%, he's going to get you guys in foul trouble. Yep. Another thing that Milwaukee did that the Suns were doing, Skip, what were they doing? The Suns closed out every quarter, every half. Milwaukee did that last night. Remember the end of the end of the first half? Remember the end of the third quarter? Basically, the game was over.
Okay.
And so that's what the Suns were doing. Milwaukee flipped the script.
Okay. So speaking of that, so in the first quarter, as we pointed out, Budenholzer has a very timely timeout. It's 36-30 Phoenix, and all of a sudden they close the quarter on a 16-3 run. But what's interesting to me is Giannis scored only 2 of those points.
Right.
So to your point, everybody else started to chip in and contribute and feel like they were part of the night.
Right.
So that wasn't so bad because in the third quarter, they withstood that barrage. And then in the third quarter, they cut it down to 74-70. Well, this is when it goes crazy because the home team is about to go on a 24-6 run in which Drew Holiday scores or assists on 22 of the 24 points. So this was not a Giannis.
Correct.
What's shocking is I just gave you 2 big stretches. Giannis scored 41 points, but he was not instrumental in either one of these stretches.
Right.
So if we could see what happened in the second stretch in the third quarter, the one that put the game away, if we could see the 3-point shooting by Drew Holiday and Connaughton, here we go. Kick out to Connaughton. Boom. Oh,
that's it.
One out.
Rebound. That's the offensive rebound, second chance point.
Okay, there's the first one. And that knocked it back up to 7. Here's Connaughton from the corner. That's
Cameron
the third
Johnson
one.
got nosy on the backside.
Yep. And here we go again. Holiday, that's his 4th 3-pointer of the quarter. And then one more to Connaughton, and this is a bomb. And that does it.
Yeah.
Because that boosts it all the way back up to 22. So, and the game's basically over at that point. So my point is, Giannis didn't do that.
Right.
Those guys did do that. Giannis didn't do the 16-3 run at the end of the first quarter that put them in pretty commanding position.
Right.
Everybody else did. So I will give you, finally on a night, they had some chemistry, they had some ball movement, they had some trustability of everybody else. But it helps when they see Giannis is unchained. You know, when he's loosed, when he is unleashed, then it makes everybody feel great about themselves. And so they're like, oh, Giannis has got a huge advantage tonight. So do we.
But guess what, Skip? When Giannis was unleashed, they weren't standing around watching.
No.
They were moving, and he was finding them. He had 6 assists.
He had 6.
Bobby Portis was tremendous off the bench on the glass. Skip, he's a big body. And that's what I'm saying. You got guys, Giannis, 6'11", Lopez, 7'1", 7'2", Bobby Portis, 6'10 and a half. Pound them little rascals inside. And what happened? Inside. Giannis had 24 points. Giannis had 41 points. 21 up, 24 of them came in the paint. And then he made 14. So he shot one shot out, made one basket outside the paint. You can live with that. Look here. If Holiday and Middleton score 30 apiece and beat me, I'm going to have to live with that.
Sure.
But I know Giannis getting 40 and 15 will beat me. Okay. I know that.
If Giannis is frustrated, he will show it quickly.
Yes.
You'll see it on his face.
Right.
You'll see it in his body language. But
you got to do it early, Skip.
It trickles down to everybody else because if he's frustrated, they start to tense up like, maybe we got to carry the show tonight.
You can't let him get in his rhythm early, Skip. Yep. They let him get in his rhythm early. He's dunking the ball. He's laying it up. He's Euro stepping. And Skip, you know how he is. He start Euro stepping. He start looking at his hands. He's like,
how about this? We got to see one last thing. The second quarter dunk where Brook Lopez shoots an air ball, misses everything, and Tuck goes and gets it because he was going to get everything off the offensive glass, and it bounces almost out of bounds. And then Tuck feeds Giannis just breaking back down the lane, and it's just your basic wide open, thank you, dunk. And he's mean mugging going back up the floor. He's giving him the old mean mug like he did something spectacular. Well, I don't know. You're just unguarded and you dunked it. But once he starts mean mugging up the floor, you're in trouble.
Yes.
Because he is feeling it.
Sons, don't think you're that good of a defensive team that you can single Giannis. You're not singling the great players, the Kevin Durant's, the LeBrons, all these guys that are really good, that are great. You're not singling them.
Yep.
Swallow your pride. I know Aiden is a good young player, but he's not taking Giannis one-on-one.
I so agree. So Monty Williams is now in the spotlight.
Yep.
He's got to help fix his defensive strategy, and he has to help fix Devin Booker's psyche going into Game 4.
And understand, Aiden, you don't have to challenge everything. You're going to have to pick and choose your spots.
Yep.
Because, Skip, look, obviously we know what Chris Paul is. We know how Booker is. But they can't win without Aiden on the floor.
No.
Because they're going to get crushed on the glass. And that's what happened. They got opportunity after opportunity, and that's what you saw. A 20-2 in second chance points. You're losing. They got 11 offensive rebounds. They're plus in that category. You can't keep getting pounded on the glass, losing second chance battles, and think you're going to win.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.